It was Thursday night. Everywhere was extremely dark, partly because there was no light. As a matter of fact, there hadn't been light for 3 straight weeks. And there was something off about that particular night because everyone felt weird. We were all sitting outside having fun, and people had mats on the floor, clothing on the floor, moonlight story was going on, all of that. But again, we sensed something off because we could hear the sounds of stray dogs unusually howling around the street. Suddenly, we heard gunshots and we heard a scream. Before we could rush out to see what was happening, Chuka, our calm and respectful neighbor, had disappeared. No trace of blood, no trace of a car, no trace of scratches on the door. All we saw was that his door was left open. This threw our community into disarray, and all of us were asking for answers. But something happened that changed our community forever. The next morning at about 6:30 a.m., Chuka came back. This time, he said no words. His eyes were bloodshot. He just went straight to his room and locked his door. As community members, we were expecting that maybe he was crying or something happened to him, but we couldn't figure it out. This was 2002. I was a teenager back then. Our community was not rich. We struggled over almost everything: water, light, power supply, what have you. In spite of all of this, we were a loving community. Everybody knew everybody. There had been rumors here and there about kidnappers coming in. Chuka was in his mid-30s. He lived in a boys' quarter near Mama Eze. He was calm, respectful, easygoing and loving, and he always minded his business. We knew him to be a mechanic, but others said he was a night man, meaning he was always leaving the house very late at night and returning late at night. And so many people didn't know what he was up to or what he was going to do. On this fateful day, something happened that threw our community into confusion. But before then, there had always been rumors about kidnappers coming into or targeting small communities such as ours, and it was as though they heard everything we were saying. I mean, these kidnappers. Because it was 9:40 p.m. While we were having fun outside, under the moonlight, we heard this strange sound. It was a gunshot and yet a scream. And then I could remember someone screaming and shouting that they don't kidnap Hamu. Before we could rush out to see what was happening, it was Chuka. He had disappeared. No sign of him, no sign of blood, no sign of struggles. We met his door open. We didn't even see any car around. Everybody was in confusion and people were saying all kinds of things as to what could have happened. We checked in his room, nothing. He had vanished. What happened next? The next morning at about 6:30 a.m., Chuka was back. Just that when he came back, something strange happened. We knew Chuka to be very respectful. As he came back, he greeted no one. He went straight to his room and shut the door. At first, we thought maybe he felt bad for what happened. All our attempts to check with Chuka to know what actually happened was abortive. Before that time, people had been saying all sorts of things about some members of the community having strange kind of illnesses, some migraines, some they were having speech difficulties, and these things were not like that before, but they didn't really know what actually happened. So here is where the story gets a little bit more interesting. On another evening, while we were outside at night, about the same time, we had these kidnappers come around again, and it was all the same process: a scream, gunshot. Before we could get there, they had gone away with this person, another person. No signs of blood, no signs of cars, no signs of anything whatsoever, except that the person was gone. The next morning, the person came back. This was what was happening for a while. Now, I remember Mama Eze I spoke of earlier in this story. She said something strange about Chuka. That about 2 a.m. one midnight, she peeped and saw Chuka saying some words into a strange mirror. She never knew what this was about, and that was not the first time she would notice him. She had been observing him for a while. After the incident that happened, the kidnapper incident, people eventually got to visit Chuka. For everyone that visited Chuka, by the time they came back, they were suffering from some sort of illnesses. It's either migraines, some weird sickness, or even speech problems. Some were even acting as though they had mental problems. This was very, very unusual. As a result of this, Chuka was asked to leave the community because it was as if Chuka was now beginning to bewitch people around the community. So, in silence, he packed out of the community, but he left behind the strange mirror and the iron trunk. Sometimes, the scariest things are not ghosts or demons, they're actually the unexplained. So let me ask you, if something like this ever happened to you, would you tell anyone or would you remain silent like Chuka? Let me know in the comments. If this story gripped you, please do well to like. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this that are too real to ignore. Until next time I come your way, stay blessed and always remember to be kind to people. See you on the next one. Bye for now.